Okay, well, it must be, I'm sure it is 1 o'clock somewhere. So we'll bring the meeting to order this morning and welcome everybody for joining us here this morning. Councillor Singh Soros and Councillor John have joined us online along with a number of staff and mostly staff, all staff. Anyway, all right. Before we begin, I want to recognize and acknowledge the traditional keepers of this land with whom we share today. The Township of Southgate is a part of the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, Six Nations of the Grand River, Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, the Haudenosaunee, and the Saugeen Métis. The land that surrounds us is part of who we are as it reflects our histories. May we live in peace and harmony with all its diverse people. Do we have anybody registered for open forum this morning, this afternoon, Madam Clerk?
We do, Mayor Milne. Owen Bennington is here to speak.
Come on up, sir. Welcome. Good. The floor is yours. I presume the microphone is turned on. Yes, it is. You're ready to roll,
Okay.
sir.
So yeah, my name's Owen Bennington. We have been working on, when I say we, Jim and John and Bill White, an agreement to upgrade a portion of Southgate Road 4. I currently own a lot down the no maintenance portion. And we have an agreement in place that kind of keeps everybody happy that would upgrade to allow me to front on a municipal road, and then I could build in there. So that's kind of why I'm here, is just to answer any questions and put a face to the name. I'm
Okay.
not some, huge developer or anything like that. I just want to try to build something nice there for my kids and my family. So
Absolutely.
hopefully we can get that done this year. We're looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm here if anyone needs any questions or
All right.
if anything arises.
Well, thank you, sir. We certainly like agreements that make everybody happy.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So what we're going to propose here just in a minute, we're going to amend the agenda a little bit to bring the report regarding your property and the bylaw.
Sure.
We'll do that in a few minutes here.
Yep.
And then if there's any questions at that point, you're available to do that.
Yep.
Very good.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Nope, that's all. Okay. Confirmation of the agenda as it is presented. Do we need to amend the agenda, Madam Clerk?
It can just be moved and seconded as amended to make that change.
All right, thank you. So Barb moves, Jason seconds. Anybody, any discussion? All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest related to any item on this afternoon's agenda? Not seeing any. If one should arise during the course of the meeting, you can declare it at that time. So as I indicated just a minute ago there, we're going to consider report 8.31, or I guess that's item number 831. And that is the servicing agreement between Mr. Bennington and the township. Someone care to move that, please? Martin and Barb, thank you. John, is that your report? Do you want to? Bill, oh, Bill. Okay. Good afternoon, Bill. Always a pleasure to see you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Milne, members of the council.
From the great state of Texas.
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity to present the report. It's great to see Mr. Bennington there, and the Public Works Group had worked with Mr. Bennington, and I assisted as it began with a planning matter on how to develop his lot. And it was determined that in order to meet that section of the zoning bylaw that requires frontage on an open and improved street, that the best way to go about it would be to try and improve that section of Southgate Road 4, sort of west of the Southgate-Melanchthon town line. Currently, right now, Public Works turns around in a farm drive about 750 meters west of that intersection. Mr. Bennington's lot is surrounded by some conservation lands, but it is zoned to allow for a dwelling that he would like to build. And the best way to do this was to provide for some terms where he would provide for upgrading the road, and he has done that. And The estimated cost provided by Public Works is $120,000, which includes some contingency, and the agreement also allows for an additional 10,000 contingency. I believe Mr. Bennington has also provided the $5 million liability insurance that's required. And upon council's execution, if you're satisfied with the agreement, Public Works would upgrade the road sometime this summer and would receive payment for that from Mr. Bennington, and then he could work on plans to develop and build on his lot this summer as well. So as he said, it's kind of a good news for everyone at this point, and we're recommending that you consider Viola to sign this agreement.
Very good. Thank you, Bill. I'm glad you said it was west of the Melanchthon Southgate line and not east of it.
Yes.
John, did you have anything to add? No? Okay. Any questions from council? I see Monica first. Go ahead, Monica.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're coming through loud and clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Just through you, Chair, I guess it would be Bill. Hi, Bill. You're probably having better weather than us. Today is pretty good. Just with regards to winter maintenance, costs long term, just wondering, once we assume winter maintenance, what would the ongoing annual cost for the township look like? I'm not sure if you could answer that, or if that's something that can even be answered at this point.
Yeah. I just very briefly, the maintenance would entirely be the townships, and there is a turnaround or a provision for that in the intersection with the town line, but I don't know the sort of per kilometer cost that would increase to.
I'll maybe go to John for comment.
Yeah, the increased cost would be minimal, as we're already coming part way down that road anyways for the extra 750 meters. I could come up with a number, but it's going to be minimal.
Right. Okay. Thank you, John. Jim?
Good afternoon, good people. The property taxes would cover, that's part of the services, so it would be lumped in, and we're receiving revenue that would provide the service, so.
Yep.
No impact
Very good.
substantially.
Yeah. Thanks, Jim. Is that good, Monica?
Yes, thank you. Actually, the question that I was had for a follow-up was just answered there. So will it be minimal? Would already be something estimated for future costs and accounted in our public works planning budget and things of that nature? So thank you. That's very helpful.
Very good. Thank you. Was it Martin or Martin? You were next, please.
Yeah, this is just for the, on the applicant's behalf. The 120,000, is that written in stone, or could it be less for the gentleman?
I'll let John take that one, please.
Yeah, so basically we did a quote, for lack of a better word, and then did the contingency on top of that. And if it comes in below that 120,000, then he would receive that back then.
He'll get the benefit of any savings.
Yes.
Excellent. Jason?
Yeah, I have no problem with it. I know the lot well. Are we going only to the road that goes south to the old red, not right to the other corner? Yeah.
Yeah, no, just to that first intersection there and build it properly for a turnaround. So,
And then my second question with regards to the building of the road, the applicant's paying for it anyway. Is that putting us, is that a big job, or how long, like, do we got lots of work lined up, or are we just as well to get him to pay a contractor so we're not behind, or like, we're not going to make money on this deal, are we? Or?
no, but I figure a couple weeks we should be able to get it done, and we can fit it into our schedule, and we're not doing as much of our own construction in-house, where a lot of that's getting more contracted out. So, and we will be hiring contractors for some of the equipment as well. So the staff on site will be minimal.
Very good. Thank you, John. Any other, Barb, go ahead.
Thank you and good afternoon. I guess in line with winter maintenance and turnarounds, do the waste diversion trucks go down to that area anyway? So it'll just be a slight extension to their drive. and that'll be covered by the taxation anyway.
Exactly.
Very good. Any other questions?
Just a
Monica,
quick
go
one.
ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, just one quick question with regards to clarity on public access and usage. So just want to make sure or have a better understanding, will this improved road segment remain publicly accessible year-round to others, or is there a potential that there be restricted access?
John?
It'll be plowed and maintained to that intersection, so the 750 meters extra for the winter, but beyond that, it'll remain no winter maintenance.
But the
Okay,
piece that we upgrade will remain accessible to the traveling public.
To whoever wants to drive and turn around at
Exactly.
the intersection and drive out.
Exactly. Okay, Monica?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Jason?
I don't think there's any more law. That's all for reforestation down there. There's no more lots, is there? Like, so if someone else, I know one time if someone else built down there, they'd have to share the cost and recovery, was it? Or, but I think that's all.
John?
So it's all one farm and then the Gray County Conservation Forest there. But there is a contingency, and Bill would have to be, he knows more of the technical terms on that, but there is a contingency in the agreement that if somebody were to take advantage of the improved road, that Owen could
Recoup some of
recoup
his
some of
cost.
it. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? Not seeing any. I'll call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. So now we'll just flip over to the bylaw that will speak to the report we just had. Would someone care to move that, please? Jason, second by Martin. Thank you. Any further remarks from staff? Okay, not seeing any. Any questions from council? Call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you, Mr. Bennington. Appreciate your time this afternoon, rather. You're good to go. We're looking forward to having you, and thank you for coming. All right, we'll go back to the, where are we now? Delegations and presentations. So we have Mr. Barnett here this morning, or Barnett? How do you say that, Ron? Barnett, 2 syllables. Very good. So Ron's here to give us an upgrade or an update on his walk, bike, drive campaign. And I need a motion to receive the report before we start. Barb, seconded by Martin. Thank you. So Mr. Barnett, sorry. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. Hopefully everyone remembers me. I was here last year. I am Ron Barnett, and I am a resident of Eugenia in Grey Highlands. I am responsible for the Walk, Bike, Drive Safe grassroots road safety campaign. There it is. Thank you again for your support of last year and helping to make this campaign a success. That's a picture of me sitting at my dining room table, collating all of the brochures and the armbands, which I brought a couple of samples if you want to pass them around.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
They're fun. They're fun to play with. Okay, so anyways, as I was saying, last year was a big success. And each year, this is the 4th. That was the 4th year of the campaign. Each year I've expanded the reach of the campaign and increased the number of armbands and brochures. The they had I also decided last year to do a greater marketing effort to get the word out about these, and I did a radio interview on the river. I sent out news releases to the media, and stories were on Collingwood Today, the Owen Sound Sun-Times, the Owen Sound Hubbub, and southgrey.ca. Now, I also decided to try and measure the success of this campaign. So last year, I engaged in an online survey. And due to this survey, I found that 63% of people who responded were aware of the campaign through social media. 62.5% felt that they were safer at night when they go walking. 61% found the campaign a valuable endeavor. 56% would recommend the campaign to others. And some suggested that the campaign start earlier in the year. So here I am in April. Next. So I also received some feedback, and it was overwhelmingly positive. Here are some of the things that people said. The bands have been a hit at Cobble Beach Concours and the Blue Mountains Open Fields events. This was an excellent way to talk to people about walking, hiking, strollers, cycling, and more. And that's from Heather Aljo at the County of Grey Tourism. I like this feedback because a lot, because the people who received the armbands were being engaged in a conversation about road safety. Next. The armbands were a great success, well received by everyone. That's Mike Gibbons, Chatsworth Fire Chief. We love it, simply said by Keith Barkhouse at Barkhouse Pet, one of our sponsors. Again, here's more engagement. We shared tips with parents on how to add this band to a child's backpack, bike, or scooter. Teenagers also took bands to add to their purses and backpacks. Many seniors asked if they could have one as well. So this shows that these armbands are being used by all generations. They're not just for kids. In fact, this year I was contacted and they will be handed out at the Seniors Fair in June. So taking the lead from a suggestions that was made to me early to start a little earlier in the year, the 2005 campaign will begin in June and culminate in November with additional emphasis on National Road Safety Week. This is a week that's been declared by the chiefs of police. Goals for 2025 to widen the distribution, to hand out 5,000 LED armbands and 5,000 rear window, mirror, and door hanger cards. And you can see on the one side there what they might look like. So again, I'm partnering with the Hanley Institute and this year adding the West Grey Youth Center. It's endorsed by the OPP, West Grey Police, Chatsworth Fire and Rescue, and the Canadian Association of Road Safety Professionals. Also, it is supported by our local governments, the Bruce Grey, Owen Sound provincial and federal members of parliament. So my ask this year is that the township of Southgate grant us $500 towards this initiative for 2025. And again, I will provide the township with up to 500 of these bands, which they can, and hanger cards, which they can distribute at the municipal office, various events, outreach, and anywhere else you might think that they would go over. So once again, I want to thank you for letting me speak to you here today. This is more of an update, and I'll take any questions if you have them.
Very good. Thank you, Ron. Are there any questions from council? Joan, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's not really a question. Thank you, Walk, Bike, Drive campaign. Congratulations and thank you, Ron, for a great presentation. I really do applaud the Hanley Institute. They have been doing a tremendous job with the youths in instilling compassionate life skills and stuff like that have developed them in such a unique way, and extending and removing barriers for youth in Grey County. Through partnership and collaboration like this with all the other organizations and volunteers like you, Ron, as I said last year, safety come first. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Any other questions, Ron or Martin, rather?
Thanks, Brian. Ron, you mentioned, I love this. My grandkids still have them. So that's one question. Like when you keep putting these out, are you going to expand your sphere of influence? You mentioned Grey Bruce, federal politicians, everybody getting involved in it. But when you still get 5,000 a year and then 4,000 and they do last,
True.
are you expanding your sphere of influence? Like you went up to Cobble Beach, but how big is your?
I started in Eugenia, where I live. And then I moved into Grey Highlands, including Flesherton and Markdale. And then I moved into southern Grey County, West Grey, Chatsworth and Southgate. And it's grown a little incrementally every year. This year I'm adding the town of Blue Mountains. It remains to be seen if there's a saturation point where everybody already, like you say, has one of these, or if I need to move it into different neighborhoods. I still haven't gone up to Owen Sound. Owen Sound scares me. It's a much bigger place. But maybe it's a matter of just moving the campaign into a different place. But that's, I guess, for next year.
Okay, very good. Thanks. Barb?
Thank you, and through you. Thanks, Ron. It's a great program. I know that they have a basket of armbands, or used to, because they go pretty quick at the library as well. And I think as you spread the news and get the awareness out there, other municipalities will be interested to get on board as well. So keep up the effort, because it's making people safe one person at a time, right?
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. Any other questions? Okay. Monica, you have a question? Go ahead.
Yes, hi, through you, Chair. Hi, Ron. Nice to see you again. Just wanted to thank you for your ongoing commitment to road safety and community engagement. I was really excited to see you on the agenda today, as you're always involved with many great initiatives that serve the public. And just as a member of the OPP Police Services Detachment Board, I recognize how initiatives like Walk, Bike, Drive Safe complement our shared goals around public safety and awareness. I would like to share this presentation with our upcoming meeting. Just to see some thoughts and talk about that and see maybe what else could be implemented. And this campaign does align well with Southgate's values, and the request for $500 grant offers a really strong return through the education, visibility, and prevention. So I do fully support this partnership and look forward to seeing the benefit of our residents. And also over time, sometimes people lose the bands and people get more family members, and then, some people have extra, they give it to a friend. So I think that this is something that would be really great. I'm not sure if there really be a full saturation point. So I could foresee it going really well. So thank you. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Any other questions? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor of receiving the report, or the presentation rather, that is carried. Thank you. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
Brian, I just
Lindsay.
wondered, we should have done it during the first amendment of the agenda, but I didn't know if council wanted to move up 8.4.1 Kayla's report about this donation while Ron's still here, because it's quite far down in the agenda.
Absolutely. And I was wondering about that myself. Does anyone object to moving that? No, I have some suggestions, agreement that we can move that up. Now I'm trying to find it in my agenda here. 8.4.1. Yes, there it is. So that motion was to grant the donation request for $500 to the Hanley Institute for the Walk, Bike, Drive Safe campaign. Someone care to move that, please? Martin, and second by Barb. Thank you. Any discussion? Call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Just like that, Ron. We're efficient government here. Barb?
Even though we moved the report up, you're welcome to stay and
Yeah.
report out.
Again, thank you very much, Ron, for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Our guests. Didn't work.
Don't forget your jacket. Ron.
Ron,
Jacket.
well, you probably wouldn't have went too far. It is nice. That's true. Okay, our next presentation or delegation is from the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation. And we have Anthony Fleming here with us this morning to speak to it. And so I need a motion to receive the report. Jason and Monica, thank you. So as I said, welcome, Anthony. The floor is yours, sir.
Great. Thank you, Your Worship. Oh, I've been running around here all through the countryside. I went to town hall because the last time I presented, you guys had council chambers there.
Right.
So I was a little bit confused, but I'm here now. And then I forgot my glasses 3 times in the car, but so I don't know what that's a sign of, but don't let the gray hair fool you. Well, good afternoon or good morning. I should say, it is afternoon. I got an earlier start to the day this morning. Good afternoon, Your Worship, council members, municipal staff, and the citizens of Southgate. My name is Anthony Fleming. I'm the account manager for Municipal Property Assessment Corporation for the counties of Grey and Bruce. And joining me here today is Lynn Cunningham, our regional manager for our zone.
Welcome, Lynn.
And today I just want to give you a greater understanding of the property assessment system as well as the assessment system throughout Ontario. If we go to the next slide, please. So there are 4 key players in Ontario property assessment and taxation system, and we all have different roles and interest in this process. First of all, we do have the provincial government, specifically the Ministry of Finance, is responsible for setting assessment and legislation, taxation legislation, as well as the policies. They also determine the education tax rate. And there is an independent body that adjudicates appeals on MPAC's behalf called the Assessment Review Board. And this also falls under the jurisdiction of the province. MPAC, we are an independent, non-for-profit corporation funded by all Ontario municipalities, and our role is to accurately assess and classify properties in Ontario. We do this in compliance with the Assessment Act set out by the Government of Ontario, set out the regulations by the Government of Ontario. And we are accountable to the province, municipalities, and property taxpayers of Ontario through a board of directors that is comprised of provincial, municipal, taxpayer representatives, and they are all appointed by the Ministry of Finance. We have our municipalities, determine their budget requirements, set tax rates, and collect property taxes to pay for municipal services such as police, fire, roads, recreation, amongst many others. And municipalities use MPAC's assessments to establish tax rates, to distribute tax requirements to the ratepayers. And then finally, we have our property owners. Property owners pay the tax bill and help set the market value through ongoing property purchases and sales. And next slide, please. So as you can imagine, maintaining Ontario's property database is very important. Property data is continuously being updated so that municipal records are accurate when municipal stakeholders are making important tax decisions. Maintaining Ontario's property database includes assessing new construction, additions, renovations promptly, responding to property owners' inquiries, working with them to help them understand their assessments. And we support municipalities by offering a software called Municipal Connect, where municipal stakeholders can obtain primary source of assessment related information. And we work collaboratively with them on projects that are important to our municipal partners, such as the digital permitting project that we had last year. And we have statutory duties too, as well as handling requests for reconsideration and maintaining people data for tracking school support for over 5.6 million properties in the province. So if we go to the next slide, please. So MPAC conducts property valuation updates, and we refer to this as reassessments. So what we do is we monitoring the market and assessing newly built and renovated properties are things we do every day to keep the property data current. We also periodically update every single property in the property assessment in Ontario based on the same legislated valuation date. And we call this an assessment update or reassessment. This is where we determine that every single property in Ontario could have reasonably sold to for its current state and condition at a particular point in time. Regular reevaluation of these properties ensure that the assessments stay up to date and similar properties of similar value in the same municipality pay similar property taxes. It is the provincial legislation determines when MPAC can do a province-wide assessment update, and they're responsible for setting the valuation date for each cycle. So property values continue to be based on the market as of January 1st, 2016, which is our current valuation date. The reassessment that was scheduled in 2020 was postponed by the province to provide stability and certainty to Ontarians to enable municipalities to focus on responding to the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. As a result, assessments can continually be based on the legislation valuation date of January 1st, 2016. Now, this should not have a negative financial impact on municipalities, as MPAC continue to maintain an update assessment role to reflect changes of new construction and improvements to property. For new structures, MPAC determines the value as of January 1st, 2016 to ensure equity when comparing to existing properties. Next slide, please. Ontario property tax system is based on everybody paying their portion of what it costs to deliver community services. To do this, all properties are assigned, as I mentioned earlier, a common valuation date. And this principle is called current value assessment. Current value assessment is a market value at a point in time that is a legislated valuation date. And what it means is that it's the price of a property that may reasonably expected to sell for to a willing seller, by a willing seller to a willing buyer after appropriate time and exposure on the open market. Now, probably the question is, when's the next assessment update? And once the province is doing an assessment and taxation review, and once that review is done, then they are looking at probably providing an evaluation date for us. But until that review is done, they were working on the review, and then we slid into a provincial election, which pushed that back. Now, I think the provincial government they're getting back into the chamber, I think, on the 17th of April. So we're hoping that we're going to get a valuation date shortly. So what draws our attention to a property? It's typically one of the following things. There could be a market sale where we'll do a sales investigation on that property, a request from the municipality or a property owner, or a building permit activity. Our role is to take building permits and plans and turn them into assessment. Our municipal stakeholders rely on MPAC's assessment to levy property taxes. The sooner MPAC can deliver the assessment, the sooner municipal stakeholders can realize the new revenue. Every year, on average, MPAC processes over 300,000 building permits for new developments or renovations. For the Township of Southgate in 2024, we received 267 new permits. As you can understand, receiving timely and accurate building permit information is vital, and we work closely with your building permit department to obtain this information, and they're very helpful to provide us the information we require. So just talk about the three approaches to value. So in Ontario, there are three industry-wide standardized approaches to valuing properties. First of all, we have the direct comparison approach. Recent sales of comparable properties are analyzed to provide an indication of value for properties assessed through this approach. And these are typically your residential and farm properties. And we have the income approach. The income approach is the ability to earn revenue is tied to the real estate and not the business. That must be run from that location. So in other words, it's not the revenue being generated by the business. It's rather the income of the way of rent that a landlord can generate through the ability to lease the space. This method requires detailed analysis of income expenses, both of the property and being valued and other similar properties in the area, to generate how much income the property could be expected to generate if sold on an open market. And then lastly, we have the cost approach. And this approach is used when these properties are very unique and rarely sold on the open market. And the other two methodologies are not available to us based on that, not a lot of sales data. And these are typically like your automotive manufacturing plants. So the next slide just talks about the five main factors for assessing residential properties. When looking at valuing residential home, Although our analysis tool considers over 200 factors, the 5 factors make up about 85% of the home's value. These include the location. So is the location next to a golf course, green space, or is it next to train tracks? Lot dimensions, how big is the property itself? Square footage of the property, how big is the property? Quality of construction of the home. Is the home a siding or is it brick? Or, is there different factors in the home that makes it more valuable than other ones? And the age of the property. How old is that property comes into fact too. But I must note too, we do adjust that if there's any major renovations that have occurred on that property. So if there's an older property and they go through major renovation, it's obviously going to increase the value of that property. So let's just talk briefly about property taxes. Finally, once MPAC completes our work for the assessment and provide the municipality the assessment to the finance department, the finance department takes the assessed value and multiplies by the municipal, county, and education tax rates to get the amount of property taxes the owner must pay. Just to be clear, assessments distribute taxes, they do not determine taxes paid. The most important factor is not how much the assessed value of a property has changed, but rather how the assessed value has changed relative to the average change in that class in the community. This concept was explained in a MPAC toolkit, and the video is posted on your municipal website. And I encourage everybody to take a look at that. It just really talks about the relationship with property taxes and how it shifts within the assessment. Now, we do have a link on the next slide for that video, but it's about 3 minutes long. We could bypass that or we could watch it. It's up to
We want to
council.
do council. I think we saw, was that video here last year?
It was, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to review, we can do that, or I'm seeing, let's drive on.
Okay, so it's on your website. So citizens online, they can actually go to the municipality's website,
Perfect.
and it's
Thank
on
you.
MPAC's website as well.
Excellent.
Okay, perfect. So once we do the assessment and there's taxation, then sometimes there's assessment concerns. So after we assess a property or change an assessment, we mail out a property assessment notice. Sometimes property owners do not agree with our assessed value, and the property owner might connect with you and let you know that they disagree with our assessment. But it's important to remember assessments are not taxation. If you get an inquiry, you can help us out by asking the property owner a few simple questions. Could they have sold the property on January 1st, 2016 for that assessed value? I know it's difficult as we're so far removed from 2016, but there's other questions you could ask. If they visit About My Property to review the information MPAC has on file to ensure it's correct. So what they can see up on that portal is see how many square footages, bathrooms, and so forth, just to ensure that our data is correct with theirs. And if they've used About My Property to conduct a comparable research on the assessed values in their area, so they can see their information as well as neighboring properties to ensure that it's in line. And if a property owner still disagrees with their assessment after they've done their analysis, they have the option to file a request for reconsideration, and we will review their property free of charge. There's also the ability, if they still disagree, they have the ability to file an appeal with the Assessment Review Board. And the fastest way to start a review is to log into About My Property, and they can also file a request for reconsideration on mpac.ca's website as well, if they do not want to go that route, or if some people don't have access to computers and so forth, they still can write us in manually and send a letter to us as well. So I just threw out this mapping here just on the request for reconsideration and how the process works. So basically they review the assessment notice, log into About My Property, compare their assessment to others. If they disagree, they submit a request for reconsideration, and then MPAC will review it. We may ask for more information, and then we make a decision and send it back to the property owner. If the property owner is in agreement with that, what we do in turn is send a minutes of settlement to the municipality. Municipality makes their appropriate changes on their tax system to either increase the property or decrease the property's assessment. But if they do disagree, they have the option to go to the Assessment Review Board. But once we send the letter, they have just 90 days to make their appeal to the Assessment Review Board. This whole process does take about 180 days, and we can ask for an additional 60 days. But I look at the numbers, and usually the RFRs, or the requests for reconsiderations, are usually done within 30 days. So we're really relatively quick getting those done. And in 2024, we've had 4 for Southgate that we've actioned, and then one so far in 2025. And most of the requests for reconsiderations in the area is people did not, might have bought a farm property, and then when we flip farm property back to residential, they have to prove that they are a bona fide farmer. So they have to get that. They put in a request for reconsideration. Sometimes they miss the deadline. They can go to the Assessment Review Board and ask for an extension too as well. So that's mostly what we get for requests for reconsiderations. So I won't spend a lot of time on About My Property, but About My Property is a free online tool that property owners can learn a lot about their property. It's the best tool to support property owners. We've done a lot of work on that. We're going to do more work on it once we get a reassessment. They can review their neighborhood. It allows them to navigate with a map on their property as well as other ones. They could take snapshots of up to 100 properties, and they can save up to 24 properties in their favorites. And then when they're ready to do a request for reconsideration, the system will automatically grab those 24 and send them with us too as well to say, these are the ones that I think are comparable to my property, and they'll send it off to us and we'll review that. They can also view and print and publish assessment notices, look at sales information that they have on the property, look at their primary structures, any other structures they have on. So if they have a farm, they can see the farm buildings, locational influences. Like I said earlier, are they next to a railway track or whatnot? And also what we've done on About My Property last year was we gave the ability for them to update their school support. So they can do that right online now too. It used to be they would have to fill out a form, it comes to us, then we send it to the school, and the school sends it back to us, and then we get a call from the school board saying, can you update your form? And we say, it's not our form, it's your form. So there's a lot of back and forth between the school boards. So now it's in one spot. They can do that. They can still do it manually and send a letter to us, but it's super easy online. So just supporting our property owners, we understand that assessments can be confusing. So we're trying to build awareness, and we're rolling out more awareness campaigns through social media, through our website, when we're out looking at a property with door hangers, educational videos, as I mentioned earlier. And it's just basically for them to understand the assessment and taxation system, learn more about who we are and the resources that it's available to them. And supporting property owners, if we go to the next slide, we've created a first-time homeowners hub. So they'll get a property assessment notice from us if they're a new homeowner, and that's probably their first exposure to MPACT. So we've created this hub online, and it just goes through all of the information that is available to them and what we do and how the taxation and assessment system works in the province. So last year, for example, we sent out 627,000 property assessment notices, and it might be the first time somebody receives one of these notices. So the first time homeowners hub is a very important tool. It's a great tool for municipal or for property owners to take a look and make sure that all the information is there, that if they have any questions, but also there's a 1-800 number they can call us directly for our contact center if they have further questions about what we do. So we have, if you go to the next slide. So we started last year. We've got some social media feeds on Facebook. We find the younger generation likes to get up on those Facebooks, and we have LinkedIn, as you've seen, probably LinkedIn information that flows through. We've had a myth versus fact campaigns, educational videos. We got a new campaign called MPACT Value Matters. There's a lot of great information up there for our citizens. And then supporting property owners, as I mentioned earlier, school support designation. So I just put a slide up there to let you know that they can update their school support right online. And once they update their school support, they receive an email for confirmation of that school support update. Typically, once a house is sold, it goes back to the public school support, and then it's up to the property owner to flip it to Catholic or whatever they want for their school support. And then lastly is just supporting the strength with our municipal partners. We liaison municipalities on a regular basis, engagements like this. We conduct one-on-one meetings with elected officials. So if anybody here wanted to talk to me one-on-one about anything, I'm more than willing. I have my contact information in the presentation. We go to conferences. Lynn has been to, I don't know how many conferences this year, but I think her husband said, "Are you leaving again?" I think that was his favorite phrase. Are you leaving again? And we host webinars. We have training videos. So far, we've had over 3,000 people attend our webinars last year, and we have ongoing support for our products and services. And our municipal participation in over 1,800 engagements with our municipal partners, and I've had several with the Township of Southgate. And just give you an idea, we get inquiries from property owners and that just the top three, and what we get is property specific information, ownerships, got the wrong ownership, zoning, planning bylaws, and so forth. Mailing addresses, plans, and severances are some of the top inquiries we get from our municipal partners. So new insight is important to your communities. So we launched a website. It's on impact.ca. And it's a snapshot of the last 10 years of sales on the trends of sales over the years. So communities with homes under 500,000 are increasingly scarce. And these types of locations are moving further up north. And even $750,000 homes are less. And obviously the reason for this is, as we know, everything's gone, price of everything has gone up. So the price of construction materials and so forth. So it's a great interactive map. You can zone in your area just to see the trends of the sales within Southgate. And then lastly, we do have the power of collaboration. So our annual municipal report, not sure if you had an opportunity to look at that. We have sent it out to all members of council, and it's centering around Stronger Together, the power of collaboration. So the report highlights our collective achievements, including we've added over $42 billion in assessment to the rolls last year. And I thought I would just give you a little insight into your municipality. So the Township of Southgate, you have about 5,139 properties. Last year, we added $88 million in new assessment, and you have $1.8 billion in assessed values within the municipality. We launched last year our data sharing and service agreement, which was we had multiple contracts with municipalities, so we merged them all into one, and we did that last year, which was a big heavy lift for us, but at least it provides clarity on what we can and cannot do with municipalities, as well as enhancing our data sharing agreement. So we want to share more data with municipalities, and so that's part of it. That's part of our initiative too as well. And we worked with a consultant and AMO to develop that information. And lastly is your assessment base. So what does your assessment base look like? And not surprising, the lion's share of your assessment is the residential base with your farm properties. So as I mentioned earlier, between 2024 and 2025, we've added $88 million in new assessment, which increased the base by about 5.24%. And so far this year, I'm happy to report that we have $34 million in new assessment sitting in the hopper waiting for supplementary and omit billing. And that's it. Last slide has my contact information and Lynn's, and I'll open the floor to any questions or concerns you may have.
Well, thank you, Anthony. That's a always interesting report. I just have one question myself. I'll start off. So the assessment date is 2016. So if someone was to build a new house this summer, you would assess it as if that house had existed in 2016. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Right. Okay. And then when the new assessment date comes along, it'll bring it up to current value.
Yes, based on the assessment,
Okay.
whatever valuation date the province.
Seems like a simple enough concept, but a lot of people have trouble with that.
They do, and they always say, I'm building a new house. Why am I assessed more than others? Well, you have a new house.
Right,
New houses
exactly.
are built more.
Good. That's my question. Are there any questions from council? Martin, go ahead.
Yeah,
Please.
thanks for the presentation. I'm kind of piggyback on that 2016 and just pick a number out of the hat. Let's say the province gets it together and says 2027. That's your new assessment. Yeah, and you mentioned making it equitable, like 2016 now, as Brian said, to the past. But a lot of things have changed. Like, I know you're just the books and the figures and you're not policy and you don't work with the government like that. But if you have something assessed in 2016 And it's the same now when people's wages are stagnant. It's inflation. You said yourself, insurance and construction costs are going up. Do you think you're going to get a lot more appeals? Because, as you say, a lot of people don't understand how it's going, because that's going to hit some people pretty hard.
Yeah.
I know, sorry to
No,
interrupt.
go ahead.
I know in the one slide you had the myths and the facts,
Yeah.
and that one, oh, my assessment doubled, my taxes are going to go up. Well, we know that's not true,
Yeah.
but they are going to go up. And I assume the assessment's going to go up in, let's say 2028 now. So.
Yeah, so when the assessment goes up, in that video that, so basically if the assessment goes up, then obviously the tax rate comes down if the municipality needs the same amount of money to run the operations of the municipality. So if the municipality wants to do more, then obviously they're going to pay more. But there should be no impact. Like say if there was a subdivision and everybody had 2,500, 250,000 assessment, and then we reassessed and everybody went up to 500,000 and the municipality still needed the same amount of money to operate, then the tax rate should drop down. Yeah, should. But every municipality struggles more with more downloading, more, infrastructure and so forth, deficits. So it's going to be difficult. But all things considered, if the assessment does go up, the tax rate should come down, providing the municipality can operate within that budget that they are currently running under.
Okay, thank you. I saw Joan's hand up. Go ahead, Joan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On slide 9, Anthony, you spoke about the major factors of the property assessment, but I'm not too sure what this fall under because I never saw anything, or if I didn't hear about walk score or walkability, the walkability index. Does it fall under the location? Because what if you have a gated community or a mansion or somewhere in the rural area? Does everything fall under that location?
Yeah, location can have a factor through your chair.
Yep.
The location can have a factor on that. So really what is driving that is the sales. So if it's more of a preferred area for people to live, if they want that, that walk score where they actually can walk to the grocery store and pick up things and people want to live in that area, obviously it's the sales that are going to rise up in that area, which will increase the assessed value in those areas.
Does that answer your question, Joan?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joan. Barb, you had a question?
Thank you. Through you, I have several. Thank you, Anthony. And I did mention to some of the residents who have been calling me of late. I'll ask the first question because you just touched on the fact that assessed value doesn't necessarily mean your taxes. If your assessment doubles, doesn't mean your taxes are going to double.
Yeah.
But when an existing property replaces their old 100-year-old farmhouse with a new build, and between say 2016 and 2020, their taxes triple since 2010, their services haven't changed. There's still the same people living on the property. They're still using the same road. The road may be gravel, may be paved, whatever that is. I think this more applies to rural Ontario or rural settings of Southgate. How do you then explain the increase in their taxation if new assessment doesn't necessarily mean higher taxes?
Yeah, so what they had was an old 100-year farm home, which was assessed as a 100-year farm home. Then what did they build? Did they build, was it a 1,100 square foot home? Then they built 2,300 square foot home. So it's really what they built and the quality of construction for that property. So they're building a new home. So the assessment is going to go up on those properties because it's a newer property, a newer home. So we assess the actual property itself on its merits. So that, I guess, the answer to my question, the answer to your question is, we need to know what they're building and is it more than what they were before? If they're replacing exactly the same home, square footage, same features, everything like that, the assessment's going to go up because it's newer, right? But if they're building something that's quite large and bigger, then obviously their assessment's going to go up because it's a bigger property.
Man.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're going to buy it. They bought it and their mortgage is higher and everything else is higher. I think the argument is that let's assume they replaced it with the same square footage because they couldn't increase the footprint. You know, they're restricted for whatever reason. They're staying in the same footprint. They just replaced they had a fire.
Yeah.
Whatever. And so they're struggling with the fact that taxation continues to go up. On the other side of that is the supplemental taxation on a new build. So we have a vacant farm parcel or there's a new build in Dundalk. And the property, the building permit is sent to MPAC because it's all automated now. And the occupants, and then I guess taxation is based on occupancy because they're not living in it until it's actually built.
Yeah.
2 years later, they're getting a supplemental tax bill from vacant residential. And now they have like a vacant lot is now a residential lot with back taxes of 2 years. No fault of the township because they're doing their part in notifying MPAC. What is MPAC doing to tighten up that time frame or inform the property owner when at the building permit stage, hey, by the way, based on what we know right now, your taxes are going to increase, but we won't know until sometime down the road and we're backlogged because there's real estate for sale where they're advertising a 2-year-old home, brand new, annual taxes, $560.
So they're still, sorry, through you, Chair, they're still billing on the vacant land, like, you know.
No, they've been living there for 2 years and now they're selling their house, but they're advertising vacant resident,
But he's correct. It's still being billed on the vacant.
yes, sorry, I thought you said built.
Yeah.
My apologies.
Yeah.
Yes, that's still being billed as if it was a vacant lot because MPAC hasn't caught up with them.
Yes, and typically our mandate is to pick up 85% of the properties within 1 year of occupancy. So we don't get into those 2 years of arrears.
Mhm.
Okay. And I can tell you, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but we are fairly current within Southgate, within Grey and Bruce as a whole. So there's not a lot goes back 2 years. So we are kind of caught up. COVID was an anomaly. And we had to go through different things with COVID. So during COVID, we were just picking up the builds. Then we had a lot of smaller permits that we had to pick up. So we worked on those for about a year. And then now we're back to picking up bigger builds. So it does go back 2 years, and that's the legislation allows us or allows the tax, the municipal act allows the tax collector to go back 2 years to tax that property as if, so they have the benefit of living in that property for 2 years, but they haven't been paying the taxes on the property as if they were living in it for 2 years. They were just paying taxes on vacant land. So once we do the reassessment on that property or assess that property, we send a supplementary to the tax clerk and then they bill them on the current year as well as the previous year for the difference from the vacant land to the new build.
So I have to go back to my original question. What can MPAC do to better educate people who are building a home or who are buying a new home that their taxes, they may end up getting a bill that they can't afford in 2 years?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I think, well, MPAC, like we're doing education videos and so forth like that, but it's really not want to point fingers, but it's really part of the partnership with the municipalities and MPAC to ensure that the building department is, once they take out their permit, can say, oh, look, you're building a new home here. You're going to be expected to pay taxes on that new home at some point in time. So what MPAC's responsibility is to assess and classify that once it's complete. We're not really privy to the whole building permit process. We only get that permit once it's complete. Once it's approved, we get that permit, then it sits in our system until such time as we get a final or an occupancy. Then we go out and do our work. And then, like I said, we try to get 85% within 1 year of occupancy. And right now we're at 92% for Southgate within 1 year of occupancy.
For now. Thank you.
for now.
Leave it to.
All right.
Thank you.
Lindsay, did I see your hand up? Did you want to make a comment? You're all right? Okay. Jason, and then Martin.
Well, I guess just to Barb's point there, so it sounds like it's the municipality, and it's on the municipality and the builder, I would say. So I guess I would ask, I don't know who would ask, are we doing enough to tell the builder to let these people know, or are we doing what we should be doing then? I don't know who that's to, Phil or Jim or who.
Kelly, do you want to comment?
I'm not really 100% sure. We probably could do a little bit more to educate. We are running into issues where, yeah, it changes hands too, right? And that becomes a factor in it as well. But perhaps upon occupancy, we could do something to let people know that they need to start saving up.
Well, I don't think we're here to point fingers at anybody, but you know, there's lots of fingers can go lots of directions. I would suggest that the real estate world is a good spot to start. Real estate lawyers, real estate agents, they're the ones that are lining up and doing the sales, right? Doing all the paperwork and so on and so forth. There's a good lots of opportunities in that process to make the homeowner aware of their responsibilities. And certainly if you're a homeowner, there are responsibilities that you need to be aware of. And so buyer beware, I guess, is sort of the, not to, you know, dispel or give any excuses, but Martin, did you have something else? Please?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, yeah, we're not here to point fingers. My dad always said, if you have one going that way, you got three coming right back at your face, right? So it's not a good way to be. And Brian, you can say if this might be off topic, but if you think it is, I'll be quiet. But you mentioned just a minute ago, 2 minutes ago, about the downloading that's going on. I know you're just in accounting, you do the numbers and what have you, but you do talk to AMO, you do talk to the province. What do you think, if it is permissible, what do you think about all the reform, talk about the reforms of the original Baldwin Act? Because it was just used for infrastructure, housing, to get the hospital, to get the schools. And now third tier municipal governments, you know, we're paying for health, we're paying for the homeless, we're paying for this, which is a provincial thing. So do you get into talks like that when you're sitting down with those members?
Through you, Chair. Unfortunately, we don't. You know, we don't get into all that. We just understand, we try to understand the pain points of the municipality just to become a good municipal partner. But we don't get into all of that with them. We just understand that there is more social programs and so forth. So, yeah.
Well, I just like the fact that you mentioned there are downloads that we have no control of. So thank you.
That was a good political answer. Well done. Joan or Monica, did you have anything you wanted to ask? No? Okay. I'm back to Barb then. Barb, please.
Thank you. So if there's no other questions, so when you mentioned 5,139 properties, that could be vacant farmland. It could be a vacant lot not yet built in the urban center. It's not necessarily houses.
No, it's just properties.
Okay. Yeah. And I guess one of the reasons, if I recall, why we encourage staff to bring you here to delegate was to better understand the concept of growth paying for growth. I mean, that was the main question. And growth, new houses, yes, but how does that all factor in? How do we ensure that growth pays for growth?
Yeah, that's probably a little bit out of our MPAC's responsibility, or I can't really comment on that, but our mandate is to ensure that we pick up all the growth and it's provided to your municipality, your tax department, to ensure that you're getting those tax dollars. And then what you do with that growth dollars is not really what something MPAC can comment on. But to get back to another point about property owners and It is responsibility of sometimes the lawyers as well as the people selling the homes too as well. And we do find that throughout the province is that it's not unique to Southgate. There are other municipalities out there with this same situation where people just figure they can just pay on vacant land forever, but that's not the case. If you build a house, you build a house and you have to pay for that, right? You have to pay your share.
So if I may, we have development charges and not all municipalities have development charges. And those development charges are supposed to help cover the cost of the fire service now has to incorporate this new property, this new residential property. If there was nothing on it, it would just be, vacant land and there's no life or property at risk. The development charges pays for library and recreation, all those other things. The infrastructure in the ground and all of those things, I think, is a provincial. We have to get back to the province understanding that we need reliable, sustainable, predictable funding, and development charges doesn't cover it all. Yeah, so I think you answered it. It's not an MPAC lane, and so much more goes into it. But getting that assessment sooner than later is really important.
Exactly.
In order to help spread out the tax burden on more people.
Yes.
It lessens the burden on the ones that are still there.
Yep.
Expand the tax base to reduce the tax burden. Yep. Okay. All right. We have a motion to receive the report or the presentation. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you so much, Anthony,
Oh,
for the
thank you.
presentation. Really appreciate it and your time to answer questions.
No problem. And if you have any other questions, you have all my contact information. My cell phone's always on, except after 5 o'clock. I have
Good for you.
again, but
Good for you. All right. Thank you so much. And thank you, Lynn, for coming as well.
thanks, everyone.
All right.
Okay, take care.
Okay, it is 5 after 2. Why don't we take a 5-minute recess and we'll reconvene in a few minutes. Okay, we'll bring the meeting back to order here. We'll start at section 7, I guess it is. Adoption of the minutes. I think we've got everything done up till then, have we not, Madam Clerk? She says yes, so that's good. Yes, excellent. So I need a motion to receive the minutes from the March 19th open and closed session minutes. Martin and Joan, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Reports to municipal officers, Economic Development Department. We have Brenna on the line this morning. Good morning, or good afternoon, rather, Brenna. I keep thinking this is a morning meeting. This is a presentation regarding the 25th anniversary of the township and proposed activities. Someone care to receive that report? Move, please, somebody. Barb, thank you. Second? Yep, Monica, very good. Thank you. As I said, good afternoon, Brenna, and welcome.
Hello, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Council. My report is regarding the 25th anniversary activities. Obviously, there's been a slight change, and this project has been added to my portfolio. So we're just starting a bit later, and so this is conditional on the passing of the budget item for this project. So what we're planning to do at this point is we'll be tagging on 25th anniversary activities onto already present events throughout the township. So it could be sponsoring an aspect of the firefighters frolic in Dundalk or the Canada Day fireworks in Holstein, just to promote these events as part of our township to new residents. So trying to make them bigger by promoting them with 25th anniversary kind of promotions, and then also putting money into 25th anniversary swag, as well as supplies that we can use for promotion of relations between the township and residents and business owners, and then also other opportunities to be able to connect with the community and promote aspects of our community and township services through 25th anniversary promotions. That's the outline of my report. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to respond. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Brenna. Are there any questions from council? Martin, please.
Certainly. Thanks, Brenna. I really like the idea. It's just a comment. I really like the idea of using branding like the awnings and stuff like that for years to come. That's making that 25,000 go so much farther. So that's a great idea to put in, and I'm happy to see that. So it'd be nice to see the final designs.
Yeah, and those can be used by multiple departments. So thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Barb?
Just a comment. I like the idea of supporting already established major events like the fireworks festival in Holstein, but there's also there's usually a Canada Day celebration during the day in Dundalk. So just to have that on your radar, the Kite Festival, the Fall Fair, I would assume is on your radar. And I hear that there are some exciting or some plans that are in the development stages for the Fireman's Frolic. So I'm looking forward to getting more factual information about that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Barb. Any other questions? Not seeing any. I'll call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you, Brenna. Moving on to building and bylaw services. We have a report here regarding the canine kennel inspection cost recovery fee bylaw amendment. And I think Ken is here to do that one, but I need a motion to receive the report. Joan and Martin, thank you. Ken, welcome. Floor is yours, sir.
Thank you and good afternoon, Your Worship, members of council. Apologies, I'm not there with you in person, but still trying to get rid of a cold. I'll be here to actually present the next two items, which are kind of linked together. and stem from your decision at last council's meeting for the adoption of the contract with MSS. As part of the discussion about canine service delivery, we walked you through some of the program budget and mentioned that there was still some level of fees or costs, and had suggested this as an option to move forward, to be that the kennel, the costs for the kennel inspections be borne by the kennel operators. And so we've brought forward the amendments that were directed from that discussion as part of the resolution, which are both for the fee bylaw and the canine bylaw itself. Just to clarify how it works, the canine bylaw amendment would simply note that the CBO, Phil, would not be able to issue a kennel license until any of the kennel fees for the inspection were paid for. So that would hold back a kennel license, and then the corresponding amendment in the fee bylaw is obviously the addition of the cost recovery for the inspections. Phil and I are available if you have any questions.
Very good. Thank you, Ken. Are there any questions from council on this particular report? Barb.
Thank you, through youth. Hi, Ken. I note that the fee is actually blank. It's based on actual costs of the inspection. And I'm just wanted to clarify that it's MSS that is doing the inspection and then providing an inspection certificate and invoice. I just wondered how that's working. And do we have an estimate, even though we're saying actual costs, because it may vary based on size, number of dogs in the kennel, those aspects. Do we have a ballpark that a kennel applicant, an applicant for a kennel license, would be made aware that it could be anywhere from such and such to, such and such for an inspection, and they are responsible for that? Might change their mind, who knows?
Phil, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, through you, we don't have a ballpark. As you stated, it does depend on size and number of dogs. MSS's fee is $40 an hour plus 60 cents a kilometer. And again, they don't know roughly how long it would take. All depends on the size of their kennel.
Barb?
Thank you. And thank you. Just to follow up. So $40 an hour, we don't know how many hours. I'm just wondering, I understand why we don't put a value on it, because it could range from a 10-hour inspection, a 1-hour inspection. I just find not providing them with some guidance, or perhaps MSS has an outline of what could be entailed. It's their responsibility. We are removed from it. The cost of our canine enforcement has doubled and almost tripled in cost from what we have traditionally or historically experienced, but we have probably triple the number of dogs too. And we do have a lot of catch up to do on the kennel inspections. I'm just wondering how MSS can inform the kennel applicants that, what is the base rate and how many hours it may take. It's just, you don't go into a house not knowing what the price of the house is going to be.
Bill?
Through you, we have a meeting with MSS next week, and we can discuss that a little further if they have a ballpark. But we do have kennels here in Southgate that have anywhere from 8 dogs to 46 dogs. So the ones with the 46 dogs or 25 dogs are obviously going to take longer. Again, we'll reach out to MSS to see if they have a baseline, and we can bring that back.
Perhaps it would be a thought on that vein of questioning. Perhaps it would be a thought after you meet with MSS, they could give us an estimated number, and we could say that's the maximum for the inspection costs and see how it goes for a year. And if it's wildly inaccurate, or maybe MSS has a suggestion as to how we could give somebody an estimate and try that for a year. And if it's wildly off, well, then we need to revisit it. Who's up there? Ken, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Actually, you were going pretty much where I was thinking. I don't
That's
think.
worrisome.
No comment. I will just say that I think you could refer this matter, and Lindsay can correct me to the wording, whether it's refer or table. I think it is refer the matter back to us. Let us have that meeting, and then we can get a sense of what that sort of high-end cost would be and set a maximum. The one thing I go back to is that there's been no firm direction from council that this program cost recover, but because of the growth of the number of dogs, it seems to be moving in that way just generically, simply because there have been so many dog tags and things like that. So I think that meeting with MSS will help us to sort of set those parameters, and we could bring that back as an update.
Madam Clerk, what do you think of that suggestion? Is this urgent?
I don't think so. I think we should refer it until the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Barb?
Oh, and Your Worship, sorry.
Yep,
I
no,
would
go ahead.
suggest if you're going to refer this report, you'll obviously have to refer the next one and its associated bylaw too.
Yep. Go ahead.
So before I actually move to refer, because I want to just add another question to it then, just to clarify, kennel inspection includes health checks, vet checks. Does that all come through the same annual inspections, or do they have to, the kennel operator, if I'm not mistaken, provides the veterinary evidence that the dog is, healthy and has been inspected to the kennel inspection? I think there's two parts to this, and maybe that could also come back as an education piece. I think we don't get involved in that. We just approve whether or not they can have a kennel. But we're all about making sure people are aware, right? Thank
Phil,
you.
Do you have anything to add? No? Okay. Ken, do you have anything to add on that thought?
I am just going through, I just didn't have the bylaw pulled up, so I'm probably doing what Phil is doing and frantically going through what needs to be provided. But yes, they would have to provide as part of their submission confirmation that the dogs have been properly vaccinated.
Right. Jason?
Mine was kind of on the same vein there. Since they're a contracted company working for us, do we have measures in place? I was actually talking to a fellow yesterday that runs a kennel, and some people would call them something else maybe, but if you got somebody working for MSS that doesn't, they're within the bylaw, but I don't know how I'm wording that, they think it's not up to qualifications or something, but it actually is. Is there any safeguards in place for that, or?
Bill?
I guess, but I just.
Yeah, through you, that would be through your veterinary checks and all that. If you're referring to puppy mills,
Well,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, it does have to be a licensed kennel, and the majority of those ones don't register, and that's where the issue with the parvo and all of that comes up.
Okay. Barb?
So without putting words in Councillor Rice's, I think, is there an appeal mechanism if they're not satisfied with the?
I'm seeing some nodding heads that yes, there is.
There is. I thought there might be. And so I would like to move that we refer this back to staff so that we can just seek a little bit more information about the outset limits.
If I might.
Please.
If you might as well do it all in one
Yes.
motion, refer 8.2.1, 8.22, 8.23, and 8.24.
I was just going to ask you
Yeah.
how you'd like to do that. So
Yeah, it's
if
easiest that
that's
way.
your motion, Madam Deputy Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Is there a seconder for that? Jason will second that. Any further discussion? All those in favor? That is carried. All right, we look forward to those coming back sometime in the future. That shortens today's meeting somewhat. Okay, thank you very much, Ken. That concludes I guess the plan. No, it does not conclude the planning. There's a bunch more here. We have one here related to policy 60 update, the Ontario Land Tribunal. Someone care to move, receive that motion? Martin second or Martin moves. Who seconds? Monica, will you second that? Thank you. Ken, please.
Yes, thanks, Your Worship. Council will recall we discussed this policy back in, I believe it was February, when we had an appeal served related to a committee of adjustment matter, and we recommended as part of the discussion that the policy be rewritten. It didn't recognize the change in the tribunal name, but it also really didn't necessarily recognize the way that the actual tribunal operated and decision points. So we are presenting for you a redrafted policy. I will thank the deputy mayor for catching that I missed finishing a sentence in the third paragraph. So we do have a friendly amendment to actually complete that thought. I obviously was drifted when I was trying to finish that paragraph, but essentially, the policy leaves all of the decision-making with council in terms of direction. In terms of how this would operate, it will really depend on the nature of the appeal that's received. Staff will always be the trigger point because any appeal that may come forward is going to start at the municipal office received by staff. Some of your deliberation will start out in public and not in camera. So for instance, when a new appeal comes forward, that would be a public discussion because we would be recommending to you to take a direction and then to engage a solicitor. But then a lot of the discussions that may occur if you go down that road would then go in camera because you're getting legal advice. So for instance, if we find a resolution, that would be dealt with through an in-camera discussion and what have you. Some of it is also to recognize that staff could, should you decide to not take action on a matter, that appeal could still keep going and staff could be summoned to attend the tribunal anyway. And so that it's important for staff to have legal representation because they cannot object to a question or defend themselves from the witness seat, if you will. That's why it's important to have legal representation. I'm open to questions if council has any.
Excellent. Thank you, Ken. Are there any questions? Monica, please.
Yes, thank you. Just through you, Chair, to Ken. Just had a quick question with regards, if you could clarify a piece in regards to process. How quickly does staff have to respond if they're summoned, and how will we be notified as council of that engagement?
Ken?
So through your worship, to your question, Councillor Singh-Source, it really depends on the circumstance. Sometimes it may be rather quick and we would not be able to turn a report around fast enough. And so what the policy recognizes that in those circumstances, staff would engage legal support to represent and then come back to you and advise you that we didn't really have much time to react. Those situations are rather rare. Usually what happens is there are several case management hearings that happen. These will be rather big, complicated appeals. The tribunal has to issue its decision orders, things like that. So there's a bunch of, for lack of a better term, bureaucracy and paperwork that then has to happen that would be an outcome of those decisions. And usually what will happen is we'd get an FYI from someone involved if we were not participating that, by the way, we've sought to have you summoned to participate. This will be coming through a board order shortly. And that gives us a little leeway, but it's rare that it's very last minute, but it can happen.
I just had a follow-up.
Yep, go ahead.
Thank you. That was helpful, Ken. Just with regards to the financial implications in that regard, just to the point that you made, I'm not sure if we'll have a general ledger fund, or a separate budget, that could be allocated for potential litigation costs for staff representation in OLT matters. Is that something that's been thought about?
For your worship, that's in the planning budget.
Right, okay. Just one more quick follow-up to that.
Yep.
So when there are fast-moving appeals, I'm just wondering about the flexibility during that time. In scenarios where timelines may be tight, is there a plan to engage counsel through special meetings or delegated authority?
Ken?
So through your worship, council's been really great when we've needed to engage you for a special matter, particularly for a planning decision. So we would continue to do that. If we needed to have a special meeting, then we would work with the clerk's office to set that up.
Okay, thank you so much. I know it's a little bit new waters, but thank you for those answers.
Okay, thank you, Monica. Martin?
Thank you, Brian. Ken, I think we chatted about this quite a while ago, but the part about committee of adjustment, this policy is just for Southgate, right? I'm assuming, yes?
So through your worship, it would cover any planning decision, whether it's made by council or committee of adjustment.
Okay, but it's still mandated by the Public Planning Act. With the part where a staff member is summoned, is any member of the committee of adjustment, can they be summoned?
Ken?
I'm just wondering because we're council as well. Like there's a myriad of different committee of adjustments in the province, but we're all council members on that board.
Through your worship, that is actually an interesting question, and I see Bill is still on the line. I may need to summon some assistance. Keep in mind when you sit as committee, you're sitting with a different hat on. And so when you as the chair are reading out that script, you're making it very clear you're not sitting as council. But I'm not sure whether council can be summoned. Bill, I'm not sure if you've ever seen that happen before.
Bill?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I have not. In fact, I would think it would be rare, if ever, that to an OLT that a member of a committee or council would be called. If there were a judicial review or some kind of ombudsman investigation, that might be different. But in terms of a general OLT hearing, it would be really rare that they would call members. It's supposed to be outside the political realm of the hearing officers and into the technical realm.
Yeah, I've always been of the understanding that the OLT will only call experts of topics or matters that, and of course, counselors are not considered experts in anything one. We're experts in everything. So, well, yeah, some aren't, I'm not. Anyway, moving right along, are there any questions? Barb?
Only one, and it was the friendly amendment to, or housekeeping amendment. What's the mystery end of the sentence? Because it's not in the bylaw.
Till the end of time, period. I don't know.
Well, it says this may be based on past decisions of the OLT or.
I'd have to look.
I'm
Yeah.
rushing to find it too.
It's on page 2, paragraph 3 under background. Just before we approve it, it's like, or at the discretion of the mayor. I don't know.
Hope not. I'm sure it was of a grammatical nature, was it, Ken?
And perhaps it was meant to take out that whole section of the sentence. Maybe it's not necessary because it says in the next paragraph, in the course of action.
I got it, sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
the clerk has it.
The added text is, or clear direction from the Planning Act is the end of the sentence.
Excellent.
Perfect.
There we go.
All right. So with
Lindsay was
that,
slightly faster than I was.
with that piece of information, are we ready to call the question? Okay, all those in favor? That is carried. Moving on to the bylaw to enact the policy number 60. Barb will move, seconded by Jason. Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? That is carried. Okay, moving on to the last planning report here. It's regarding the county hybrid planning model discussion. Someone care to move that, please? Martin, thank you. And second by Joan, thank you. Ken?
Yes, Council, I'm going to keep my presentation on this matter rather brief. As you are aware, you've been going through the process to learn and understand the possibility of this hybrid planning model. The county had originally approached an all-in approach, but Blue Mountains had opted out, so they've now created this hybrid approach. Through discussions with you, we put together a question list that was forwarded to the county for response, and one of the attachments is their responses to all of the questions, not just from the township, but from everyone. At this point, we were advised that this would be an in-principle decision, whether to continue forward or not. However, in preparing the report, it was suggested by the county that if the township was not going to basically participate at the end of the day, that it would be the best option to not continue forward in principle, simply because it would create some challenges for them to come forward with any of the costing information, which is principally part of the reason we're recommending the option 2 to opt out. That said, the decision is really firmly with council in how you wish to proceed. And I'm going to end my presentation there. I'll let the report speak for itself, and to say that I'm here to answer any questions if you have any.
Okay, thank you, Ken.
Discussion.
Thank you, Ken. Any discussion? Well, I would suggest from the chair, and I've had some conversation with the county planning staff as well, that they're going to proceed to next steps based on who is opting in principle. And there'll be some financial investigations as well to determine costs, or try to determine some costs, so that, and so the difficulty for us is that if we opt out now and the county goes through the next steps to determine costs for those that stay in, if at some point in the future we just decide to change our mind and jump back in, now those costs are skewed. So with all due respect to the planning staff, I would suggest that it's better for us to opt in now, find out what the costs are for our participation. And then if that point, if we decide that the costs aren't what we want, or the services level, the level of service isn't what we want, then we opt out, not now. But that's just my opinion. So, and I'll defer to anybody else that has a thought. Barb. Oh, Joan, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So my thought in this is, since we have, as part of what Ken said, we now have a full staff of planners and we're quite okay. We don't know what the future is going to be. We don't know if somebody's going to leave their job. But now that it seems as if we're on very good foot, our planning department is doing great and we have a full-fledged of workers, do you think we should still go pop in for hybrid and then we can always leave after the cost, or if we should just opt out from now? I don't know. I think it is such a very tricky situation, but with more planning and learning more, I guess we'll come to a decision then. Thank you.
To be clear, who are you directing the question to?
Ken.
Ken. Okay, good. Ken?
Sorry to put you on the line.
Through your worship, no, that's fine. I think the best way to put it is what staff have tried to do through this process is really keep the momentum going forward so that when you get to the key decision point, and I think I've said this before, when you get to that point that you're going to make a decision, you can say to yourselves as council, we have all the information we possibly could have, and then make your decision and go through the process that each of you goes through to make your decision. The position that we've put forward in this report simply is based on discussions with county staff in terms of really clarifying what they wanted to see happen going forward. And I will, having been on the presentation with the county that day, I give credit to the deputy mayor for asking the question that I couldn't ask. I wasn't connected in to be able to ask questions, but she was making sure that there was an ability to opt out. And my email was really about making sure there was an ability to opt out and opt in if circumstances change. And that's really been our approach, was get you as much information as you can, make sure every door can remain open so that you have an understanding of what the paths are going to be. I think when we got some clarity back from the county, it was simply that their suggestion to us was that if in the end you were going to opt out, they just didn't want it to skew the numbers in the end. And I think no matter what you do, whether you continue forward and decide to opt out or opt out now and then need to opt in later, the numbers will get skewed no matter what. I can't see how that wouldn't happen, but it's really about getting you the information. The other thing I'll add is that with Blue Mountains having opted out early, they've still had a seat at every stage of this process. So I don't think that regardless of what you decide here today, you would not have a seat at that process regardless. This is just about, what do you want to do and the advice that we received back. But yet again, this is your decision.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Thank you, Ken. Barb? And then Martin.
Thank you. And through you, thank you, Ken. And, we're very fortunate in Southgate to have the staff that we do have now, but I'm reminded of how we struggled to get up to 55 years experience. My concern is that, one of those people is a contract person. We love having him on the team, by the way. But my understanding was that we still have time. And to the mayor's point, opting in would provide us additional time to evaluate, to look at what the cost implications will be, how the organization chart or how the hybrid model would unfold. It could be that, our team is our team and they remain on our projects and our applications, which is excellent because they provide that continuity, but that when or if our development takes a pause for 5 years, there's still opportunity for that staff to work on other projects. I feel that I'm with the mayor on this one. I'd rather opt in now in principle because opting out now stops the dialogue in its tracks. Yes, we could opt in later. Either way, it's going to skew the results. I don't feel that I have, to your point, Ken, I don't feel that I have enough or that level of understanding and the level of information I need to make a decision as to whether or not it makes sense for Southgate. Yep, we've got a full complement now, and we have a lot of development and a lot of applications and a variety of applications. So I think it's great for our staff, but I'd like more information. So I would prefer to make the recommendation that we opt in principle.
So are you making that an amendment to the motion?
I would like to, yes.
Okay, to choose option one. Okay, is there a seconder for that? Martin, you'll second that, okay? So we're on the amendment to change from option two, which was to opt out, to option one, which will opt us, or we will remain in the mix for now.
In principle.
In principle, absolutely. Okay, on the motion itself, on the amendment itself, Martin, do you want to speak on the amendment or?
No, I have comments about.
Okay. Okay, any more comments on the amendment? Jason?
So if we opt
In
today, like I see this here as a participant, we're not deemed to be participating if we wait till May 9th. That's not that far away the way this has been going. Is there a hard date?
There hasn't been.
If there hasn't been yet, but I mean, if
We still have the.
I'm on the fence too. I'm kind of leaning that no, but I'm as Barb said, still not 100% information. But I'm just wondering if we opt in, is there that we cannot get out, or
No.
is there no hard date?
There will still be an off ramp in the future. Ken, maybe you want to speak to that, please?
Yeah, so through your worship, the county has requested a response by May the 9th in terms of opting in principle or opting out. What their letter says is that if you don't make a response of those two options by May the 9th, they will deem you to have opted out. So there's lots of time. There was a reason why we wanted to get this report to you now, to give you lots of time to have discussion and debate. So you don't need to make a decision today, but obviously if you wish to, you can. The key date to at least move forward in principle is May the 9th. They just need a response by that date of whether the township will opt in principle or not.
Is it your understanding, Ken, though, that there is an off ramp option out in the future?
Through your worship, that's my understanding, is that
Yes.
they will provide the financial analysis, and they will provide that draft MOU, and then you get to make the final decision.
Correct. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. Martin, you were next.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, sorry, we're just
no,
on,
we're-
we're still on the amendment. My apologies. Joan, go ahead.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I thought I took it down. It was just about the opt-in and the opt-out. Like if we go in and we decide that this is not for us, this is not what we want, then we can go back to option two to just totally get out of it.
Correct. Correct. In the future. Yep. Okay, so on the amendment to change, sorry, Jim, did you have something to add?
Well, I want to explain a little bit more rationale with
Please.
a couple CAO meetings that I've attended and the discussions about this and the hybrid model and why we came up with this recommendation at this point in time. And, it's been pointed out clearly, a year and a half or 2 years ago, we were in a different boat and needed to look a different direction. Currently, we have great complement of staffing levels. The workload's there for our staff at this point in time. It doesn't look like it's slowing down as far as we're seeing for our applications for various reasons, whether it's Dundalk growth, the online shops coming in, and other things that are happening within the township. But I guess really what we were trying to look at was that if we are going through the exercise with the county and they are looking at the financial pieces, is that maybe at the end of the day, we are requesting a lot of resources to be put at something that maybe isn't going to come to fruition. And I totally agree. And this is where council needs to banter this back and forth across the table. Again, a decision doesn't have to be met today, but I mean, what we're looking at from what they would take from the model is basically right now, directors or that high level position is not included to be transferred up. It will still remain with the township. As such, the lower end, the admin assistant part stays with the township, which is not part of the model. So in our model right now, as we are, that would be the two positions that are, we have a complement of 4 for the team. So it'd be basically looking at that. And I can't speak out of terms for sure that that's the way it would go, but currently one is a contract position with the township. I'm not seeing that that's necessarily going to get uploaded to the county. So, you know, I'm just, the exercise that we're going to put them through and where we're at. And yeah, all the options are there, but at the end of the day, you know, it's, I'm not going to say wasting time maybe, but you know, we are creating a situation where the ones that are opting in and looking at it are the ones, are they going to bear it on their backs kind of thing? And that's the only kind, and again, I think this should come back again after more thought and discussions or whatever. But I just want to make sure that, you know, we're not going through an exercise that is could be just wasting time and resources. So.
Thank you, Jim. Joan, did you have your hand up?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, I took it down. I'm
Okay.
okay.
All right, Barb.
So to the opt-in, the amendment right now, and what the CAO just mentioned, is it, if we're not going to debate it now and get the information now, is how do we have that discussion then? But to the point that, you know, we have a lot of work going on, and we've got the Dundalk growth, we've got 3 MZOs, we've got the school, we've got houses, we've got on-farm diversified use applications, we've got other development that is being proposed elsewhere in Southgate. If we at some point find ourselves overwhelmed with those items, opting in would also give us the benefit of drawing on other resources to support our team. So yeah, it's a balancing act. We either opt out and it could end up that it all goes away if not enough people go in, but we can opt in later. Or we opt in now, get the information and say, yeah, no, we're good right now. And that's like, I don't know. And I think opting in gives us that time to get that information. But I can also see the CAO's point that if we refer this back to staff, when can we have more dialogue? What would that look like? And
Jason.
Well, yeah, I was actually thinking kind of the same thing. Jim was saying that as he was saying that, you know, I'll go back to, oh, we're all taxed. We're you know, we're all paying taxes to the county too. It's just, it seems like this has took a long time to even get here. And I don't pretend to know what it takes to get here, but I mean, I'm thinking of our staff. We have a good staff now, have recommended this to me. Like I said a minute ago, but I wonder, you know, we say we should have faith in our staff, and we have a good staff now. And I've always been a little leery. It just seems to me like doubling up. If we have the staff to do it, why put another layer on there? So I'm kind of leaning towards option 2, but that's, yeah.
Well, we're yeah.
I get
we're still on the amendment, but yeah, Barb.
so as it was explained at the meeting that, when was it? 2 Fridays ago? I can't remember. It's not doubling up. We're not adding an extra layer. We already have an extra layer. We already have the county commenting on certain applications. We have our team. The idea of a joint services was to actually streamline some of that work so that there wasn't that doubling up. We still don't know what it's going to look like. I think that's the key is it's still in its exploration phase and staff, because the Blue Mountains opted out right at the get-go, it changed the direction. Now it could be a hybrid model. So now they want municipalities to consider, are you even slightly interested? So I think because rather than have this fail, what would be the appropriate next step? Is it a withdrawal? Do we vote on this? Do I withdraw the amendment and propose a referral back to give us more time? Because if this fails, if option 1 fails, we're left with option 2. And
So we could refer it now. A referral motion is always in order.
That's
Right?
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
so I would move that we refer it back to staff so that we have more time to evaluate our position rather than see this fail.
Okay, so I have a motion to refer. Jason, you're going to second that?
I would second it.
All right. You want to speak to it as well?
Well, I'm just wondering if we refer it, which I'm happy with, it kind of seems to me like staff maybe has a different opinion than some of us should did. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Martin?
Well, I was not able to attend the big meetings, and so I really read this over, and not that I don't read the other ones, but I really had to look at this, and a couple of things stuck out with me. Attachment 1 from the county. It does say with the hybrid that it would work for the people who don't have it, and the people who do have good planning don't need it. So the hybrid will work for everyone.
Yeah.
And then on the attachment 1, it's kind of piggybacking on what you said. If we have the option to opt in or opt out at a later date without having all the numbers, I totally agree with that. So I would like to see
More time?
more time. So if that needs to be referred, then
Okay.
that's good.
Okay. So I have a motion to refer, moved and seconded.
And may I just add a footnote? I appreciate all the staff and what have you, but as Barb said, we are blessed, and everybody knows we're blessed with a good planning department now after some turmoil. But in 2 years, how are we going to know who we have for staff then?
Well, that's the
And that's
blessing.
the thing. And then if we opt in, we still have that hybrid, because Veronica's she's just out. She's a young professional. And
That's the blessing of a small municipality.
Yeah.
You're like that in a lot of departments. You're just one position, one resignation away from being short. It's not
anyway,
easy to
they were
cover
just
up.
comments.
Anyway, that's for other municipalities. We're not small. Ish. Yeah, right. Yeah. We're mighty. That's right. Anyway, I have a motion to refer. It's been seconded. Any further discussion on the motion to refer? All those in favor? That is carried. So that's been referred back as well. Okay, let's see, how are we doing here? Well, we'll keep going for a little bit more. This is the Finance Department. We've dealt with the additional grant and donation request. This is the 2025 budget, the final report on that to adopt the revenues and expenses. So the first one is the report on the budget. If someone would care to receive that report, Barb, second by Joan, thank you. And I see Taylor is on the line. Good afternoon, Taylor. Welcome. The floor is yours.
Okay, so so today we're presenting 5.31 as our draft 4 or hopefully final rate increase for the year 2025. So then what's up on the screen is essentially all of the changes we made through all 4 meetings. That leaves us at the 5.31, leaving us to bring in 13.177 million in taxation revenue for the year.
Okay. That's short and sweet.
Yeah, I don't know if council wants to go over anything else or.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I'm just getting caught up on my agenda screen here. Okay, good. Any questions regarding the budget report? Barb?
Through you, and thank you, Taylor, for creating this summary, because we did change it after the public information meeting, and some may have left thinking that we landed at 3.23. So understanding what went in, what came out, what went back in again, I really appreciate you putting this page together. And I wondered if this could be included with the minutes. I don't think this was an actual schedule in your report.
No,
Madam
it
Clerk?
was added after the fact.
Yeah, well, we're gonna update it after, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions regarding the report? Not seeing any. I'll call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Now we move on to the bylaw to adopt the
Recorded vote,
Sure.
please.
The recorded vote has been asked or has been requested regarding the bylaw to adopt the revenues and expenses for 2025. I need a mover and a seconder first, please. Martin, thank you. And a seconder, Monica will second. Any questions regarding the bylaw? Okay, Madam Clerk, would you take the poll, please?
Yeah, through you, Mayor Milne, we have recorded vote for bylaw 2025-039 to adopt revenues and expenses for 2025. Mayor Milne,
In favor?
Deputy Mayor Dobreen,
In favor?
Councillor Rice,
Yes.
Councillor Ferguson is absent, Councillor Shipston,
Yes.
Councillor John,
Yes.
Councillor Singh Soares.
In favor.
My vote of 6-0, that's carried.
Excellent. Thank you, Lindsay, and thank you, Council. We have, and thank you, Taylor. Exactly. Thank you very much, Taylor, for all your hard work on that budget.
Thanks.
Now we'll see at the end of the year how accurate you were.
Let me get through 2023 first.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Okay, moving on to bylaws and motions. We have a motion or a bylaw to appoint municipal weed inspectors. Someone care to move that, please? Martin, second by Barb. Thank you. Any questions? Martin?
I just had one when I saw this. Congratulations to the both of you, but do you take any special training to know what kind of weeds you're looking at? I know the phragmites or whatever they're called. That's pretty easy, but
Through the chair, there is a course provided by Guelph University. And there is an online course you can also take.
Okay.
would that be part of your?
Yes, it is.
I was always told that a weed is any plant growing where you don't want it. That's all I'm going to say. Barb?
Through you, I have fully support. I don't know that we've ever had to appoint weed inspectors.
We did. Phil has been an appointed weed inspector for a few years now. We just refreshed with this bylaw.
All right. Thank you. Welcome. Good job. So I guess my question is this to inspect ditches, private property? Like if there's a complaint about a private property, is it to determine a course of action? If you could just educate us a little bit. So it's like, yep, that's a weed.
Bill?
So through the chair, it's about obnoxious weeds, like your hogweed and your wild parsnip. And if we do get a complaint, and there is quite a bit of hogweed and wild parsnip around the municipality, the township does control all the weeds in the ditches through roads, and we spray and cut. And this is, if we do have a complaint about hogweed, we have to send a letter out. If they don't do anything with it, then there are processes that we can go in and clean it up. But that typically doesn't happen.
And we bill the property owner for that?
Yes, it is all recovered. But typically when you send the letter, then the property owner does take care of it because they also don't want it on their property.
Go ahead.
Just to the point of hogweed and other noxious weeds, there's definitely a process for hogweed. And Phragmites there's a certain window of there's a window of when you should and how you should, and SVCA and all conservation authorities has an information pamphlet on how to do that. I'm sure you're aware of it because you have it. Hogweed is nothing to be messed with, that's for sure. And I'm glad that we have that process well in hand. Okay, so is wild parsnip the Queen Anne's lace? That another reference, or is that the wild chervil, or? Thank you.
No pressure.
They look very similar, but they're not the same.
Okay. On the motion to appoint municipal weed inspectors. All in favor? That is carried. Congratulations. Phil?
Is that for all kind of weeds?
Yeah, it's could be taken that way. Okay, moving on to the bylaw for a road widening for Manassas S. Martin. Someone care to move that, please? Jason, thank you. And Martin will second. Phil or no?
No,
Oh, Madam
just
Clerk?
another, just as a condition of a severance.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Any questions, if there are any? Not seeing any, I'll call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Any notice of motion? Okay, not seeing any consent items. We have the regular business there for information. Does anyone require any of those to be removed for further direction? Okay, not hearing any. I will accept a motion to receive those. Martin, thank you. Second by Barb, thank you. All those in favor to receive them? Okay, all right, go ahead. I was waiting, just.
I know. Thank you. I just wanted to highlight and congratulate our drinking water staff on 100% rating and from the inspection, and we couldn't be more grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, Corey does a great job, and all the water staff. Martin.
Yeah, I almost forgot. I was going to mention the library. It's been a great month. They had the Black History Month. They always do great things for the community, and the monthly statistics report. It's pretty standard. The one thing about it, it's always going up in a little increments. So the library's doing a great job, and we should be proud that we have one.
Yep.
As good as it is.
Yep. Kudos to
For the size of the township is my idea.
absolutely. Kudos to Lacey and her staff and the Friends of the Library. Barb?
And one other one, 11.1.1, I wondered if our CAO could elaborate on the Climate Ready Infrastructure Service Project. I believe that allows us to wait on that design consulting portion, or I might be mixing that up, because this is going to help us determine how that new multi-use facility, how we could incorporate being more climate ready. Thanks. I'll just let the CAO talk about it because I'm not getting it right.
Jim?
Yeah, so this initiative is no charge to the township. It's all funded through the Urban Institute, but this is a new breaking grounds for them, because usually they're looking at a site with the building or a plan, and this is just open space right now. But we've had two meetings, one virtual and then one on site last week. Ken and Phil and myself attended and met the group of experts, and they look at the water modeling and what kind of water table and, other measures like basement foundation coatings and other aspects that they can suggest with the climate that we have, and that they can model and look at of what the building could incorporate and use or do. Or we had talk about, is this going to be a warming center or a cooling center? And we imagine maybe that those will be introduced into it. So, they're looking at everything about climate towards this and the model of that. So it doesn't give us all exactly what the design of the building will necessarily look like, but what features to incorporate and look for to to mitigate what climate change could have on such a building or space. So again, it's free opportunity for us to gather information for going forward. So why not?
Thank you, Jim. I will remind us that we're on. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, just kudos for staff to take the initiative, and what comes out of this doesn't necessarily mean that that's what we're going to do, but it'll help feed that next stage of design if we get there.
Good. Any other questions or comments? Martin?
I didn't have any when I read it, but one came to mind right now with the where the acreage is. It's been a wet area. They're going to look at all that. Are they going to look at the fact that there's a subdivision going behind it? Because the stormwater is affecting the water that they're going to look at, and the pavement, and more water may be off the pavement. Would they take a look at that aspect of it?
Yeah, absolutely. We've already provided them with what the site is gonna maybe look like, as well as the hydrology studies and everything. There's a hydrologist that's part of this team. Yeah, the stormwater functioning report that's been provided. So they have those documents to work with as well. So yeah, and when we were on site at the side of the road, it was a bit of a nasty afternoon, but they could get enough look and lay of the land without having to get in there and walk around. But definitely have a good eye at what we're looking at. You know, the land there is fairly flat, so yeah, no, it should provide us with good information for what we can incorporate when we get to that stage.
Very good. Thank you, Jim. Okay, call the question to receive the correspondence from regular business. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moving on to correspondence from other municipality or correspondence to us for information. Does anybody wish any of those removed for further direction? Barb?
I'd like to pull 11.2.1, the United Way Grey Bruce Poverty Task Force Annual Report.
Okay. Any others?
Yeah,
Joan, go ahead.
I would just like to comment on 11.2.2 and 11.2.3.
Okay, we'll get to that in just a moment here.
Thank you.
So I need a motion to receive the 11.2.2 and 11.2.3 and 11.2.4. Martin, thank you. And Monica will second. Thank you. All those in favor? That is carried. Resolutions from other municipalities. Well, we're going to do 11.2.1 at the end of all the other
Okay,
consent,
that's
right?
what you want to do. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Generally what I do, but
No, that's fine.
yeah, I'm going to get there. Okay. Does anybody have any? Joan, you wanted to comment on 11.2 and 11.3?
Oh, no. I thought you were at resolution from other municipality. I'll just want to pull 11.3.1 when you get there. Sorry.
Okay.
And move fast.
Okay. We're on. So do you want any of those pulled, Joan, or do you just want to comment on them in correspondence? Or from other municipalities? Sorry, my mistake. Jesus, there's so much stuff here.
From other municipalities, I want to pull and accept 11.3.1 when we get there. Thank you. Sorry to confuse you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. Madam Clerk?
So we're still under correspondence. So Deputy Mayor Dobreen wanted to pull 11.2.1.
Yeah, and I was going to do that one at the end of all of the closed set or all of the consent items.
Which works. So
Yep.
then I think Councillor John just wanted to comment on 11.2.2 and 11.2.3. So now I think would be
Okay, Joan,
our
if
time
you-
to comment on
Yep.
those.
Now would be your time to comment on those, Joan, please. You are muted, ma'am. There you go.
Martin will pay the $5 for me. So I just want to say congratulations to Kayla and Ollie on completing your course. I hope you're proud of your accomplishment. You both have the creativity and dedication and determination to do what you do with all the responsibilities that you have on your regular day job, and you graduated and have been inducted into the AMCTO Academic Honor Roll. So congratulations, girls.
Well done. Absolutely. Congratulations. Thank you, Joan.
You're welcome.
Okay. Are we ready to move on to resolutions of other municipalities, knowing that we're coming back to the other one? Yeah. All right. Does anybody wish either of those two
Oh, yeah.
removed for further direction?
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Okay,
Mr.
which one?
Mayor.
Which one would you like removed for further direction?
11.3.1.
Okay. So that leaves 11.3.2 to receive. And Barb will move that. Is somebody seconding that? Martin will second. All those in favor? That is carried. All right. Let's come back now first to 11.2.1. Barb.
Well, thank you very much. And through you. This is how the county does it. We
Sorry.
bounce them to the end of the agenda. I would like to pull United Way, Gray Bruce Gray Poverty Task Force Annual Report. In the letter, it asked that we consider adopting the Poverty Task Force as a committee, not as our committee, but that we would consider appointing someone to the committee. So I would like to move, be it resolved that Southgate Council receive consent item 11.2.1 United Way Gray Bruce Gray Poverty Task Force Annual Report for information, and that council adopt the Bruce Gray Poverty Task Force as a committee by appointing, and I will leave that blank for now, as a member of the task force, and that staff notify the Bruce Gray Poverty Task Force of the decision.
Okay.
I so move.
Would it be more appropriate to have a name in that spot?
I can,
Or
well,
if you have somebody in mind, you might as well throw the name in there now and be done with it.
Easier.
Yeah.
it would be easier. Okay. Well, I was opening it up, but I would suggest that Councillor Joan John, if she is amenable and available, they meet on Friday mornings, virtually.
Yep.
And there's other aspects to that. If I would put her name in there, if there's a seconder.
All right. I need a seconder for that motion. Martin will second that. Councillor Joan, are you ready or willing to take that responsibility on?
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
That's a part of what I do on a daily basis, and I think it would help me some more in my job, and I could be able to help in the Bruges Poverty Task Force. So yes, I will.
Excellent. I sat in on those meetings monthly as warden, and it's a great group to meet with and work with. So I look forward to your for your input. Okay.
Thank
Martin?
you.
Just a comment, there's a lot of task forces around. Any comments, any recommendations? Do they get sent to the province? About food sustain- you know,
Generally, their recommendation, they work with the United Way and the two counties
Yeah.
too.
and seeing the United Way there, that was a
action
good
stuff.
thing,
Yep,
good thing
for
for
sure.
me. So,
Yep. Jill
Yeah.
does a great job up there.
yeah,
Barb?
perfect.
So my only question is if this passes, then our appointee can then encourage them to keep us informed by circulating the agendas and the minutes
Yep.
to us for our information.
For sure. All righty.
Actually.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Monica, please.
So is this a committee, or is this part of a budget? Or what exactly is this?
The Poverty Task Force currently exists, and it has existed for a number of years. It's headed up by Jill.
Yeah, no, I've been very involved with the Poverty Task Force myself, so I know what they're about, but just what's happening here, is this a committee or is this?
No,
like, what is it?
we're adopting the Poverty Task Force as a committee of council, or sorry, what's the proper term, Madam Clerk?
So we're appointing a member of our council to their committee.
Right,
So
so
it's not a new committee of Southgate's. It's just, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. Yeah,
All
the
the-
liaison, kind of like the community foundation, Grey Bruce. We don't no longer have that committee for Southgate, but we've appointed a member to sit on it. So very similar to that.
Okay, so in the case that if someone can't, if whoever gets into that spot can't attend, should there be an alternate?
There sure could be, I guess, if you want to go that route. Yes, Barb makes a good point. It would be up to the Poverty Task Force themselves to ask for an alternate if our representative doesn't come on a regular basis or for whatever reason can't make the meeting. They would ask for an alternate or Joan in this case.
Oh, and is this a per diem?
I don't know.
Yes, there
Yes,
would
it
be a
would
per
be.
diem.
Yes, it would be. Martin, you had a question?
Yeah, well, just maybe a comment. If whomever gets into the position, if they can't make a meeting, still having that person there will give us the information, as Barb said, through reports and any information that they want to give. So we don't have much to do with United Way down here, do we? That could be the point. That's
They
right.
could do more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No,
It's
that's
just geography more than anything.
yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions? Monica, you good?
Yeah, just to follow up, so this is like for the term for until next year. I think it's just really important because this is moving quickly. It's a pulled item, we're appointing someone. Can we just like understand what's going on? And also for the public to understand. Is everything okay, Councillor John? Oh, sorry, I thought you were saying something.
So
Yes.
it would be, the appointment would be for the rest of this council's term. I
Okay.
heard that question from you.
Yeah, so the poverty task force, especially with the climate, with everything that's happening in the area, I just think it's for the benefit for the public and clarity purposes that we all understand what's happening and that people will understand that we have that in the area. Also, someone who's part of food drives, myself, and doing a lot of that as well. That's why I just wanted to unfold and unpack a bit what this is about. So that's the reason I was asking those questions. And I think that they were more than warranted to ask.
And did you get the answers that you were looking for?
Yeah, for the
Okay.
most part. Yeah.
Okay, good. Does anyone have any further questions on the appointment? Not seeing any, I'll call the question. All those in favor? That carries. Okay, where are we now? Did Joan wanted to move, or she wanted to pull 11.3.1 Town of Milton redistribution of land tax? Someone care to move that, or Joan, you'll move that, please? Yep, thank you. Is there a seconder? Martin, thank you. Joan, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Martin. Be it resolved that item 11.3.1 Town of Milton redistribution of land tax be received for information, and that the Council of the Township of Southgate support the Town of Milton's resolution requesting the redistribution of the provincial land transfer tax and GST to municipalities for sustainable infrastructure finding, and that this support resolution, along with the Town of Milton's correspondent, be forwarded to Prime Minister Mark Carney, Premier Doug Ford, the Ontario Minister of Finance, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, local members of Parliament, local members of Provincial Parliament MPPs, all municipalities in Ontario, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, and the Association of Municipalities of Ontario for their endorsement and advocacy. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Martin has said, Joan has moved that. Martin has second. Any questions? Martin?
I'm going to support this because it's been in the news or whatever for a while. I just have, did we not send a letter in already, a resolution about this? Or because I don't mind the fact, but if we can do it again, that's okay. I'm for it, but
I don't recall whether we did, but certainly we can do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like we maybe did in 2024, but we can do it again,
yeah,
whatever.
let's do it again then.
As Joan, I think it was Joan that mentioned it's a ongoing issue
Yes,
for sure.
for sure.
Okay, any other questions? Barb?
Might have been the gas tax we're thinking of.
There was also one where we supported AMO's resolution, and if it has been already supported, we did support the call on the province for sustainable, reliable, and predictable funding to get the province back to the table of with AMO to negotiate those things. So I'm just wondering if that's the one, but if we find that we've already sent in our support, does it have to go again? Like, could we make it clear that it doesn't need to? But we're giving direction to staff. It's okay.
Yeah.
Because at the last association, AMO, Association of Municipalities of Ontario board meeting in March 21st, this came up from the town of Aurora asking AMO to support it and and it was decided that the position of AMO is still pushing or still working toward that sustainable, that fiscal responsibility and they did not support it specifically, although they did say it's good motion. Hey, we'll take it if we can get it. So far, 170 municipalities as of March 21st had supported the resolution, with 8 of them having supported it more than once. So yeah, we might be number 179, but thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Okay, we do have a closed session today. Be it resolved that council.
Oh, hang on. There is one 11.4 closed session for information, just consent.
Oh, okay.
To receive.
All right.
Yeah.
Barb will move that. Jason will second. Any discussion? If there is any discussion, we have to go into closed session.
That's right. Yep.
Seeing none, all those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. County report. Do you have anything, Barb? It's been a while since we had it. It seems like it's been a while since we've had a county meeting. I guess it hasn't been that
Only been
long.
last week.
I guess.
Well, in the news, I'm sure many people have seen that OSHARE was recognized for its support of the Supportive Outreach Service, or the SOS program in Owen Sound. And the OSHARE provides meals for the SOS community, outreach markets, in both Owen Sound and Hanover, and they've provided more than 212,000 meals in 2024 alone. They've been providing their space in Owen Sound, and it has been going very, very well. So they were recognized for that. And Francesca Dobbin, the executive director of United Way, presented our County Director of Paramedic Services, Kevin McNabb, with the 2024 King Charles III Coronation Medal. And I see in the news that Francesca Dobbin herself has received one just recently. So congratulations to both of them. I wanted just to mention that the applications are still open for the 2025 Summer Company Program, which provides funding and mentorship to students across the county looking to run summer businesses. And some of them that have participated in this program in the past have had great success, where the business has carried on beyond the summer months. Youth Climate Action Fund applications are still open till April 8th. And that is not just, that could be a climate action suggestion or project on farm as well.
Yep.
And we received funding from the federal government to explore a collaborative regional transit with Dufferin County and Bruce County. So hopefully we can come up with something that can be supported and we can implement, because we all know that transit, or the lack thereof, in Grey County is a big issue for people who are seeking employment and education.
Thank you, Barb. Moving on to members' privilege. I just want to take a minute to give a shout out to our staff, our roads crews in town. and all the residents in town for their patience and their hard work to get through the ice storm. It was an incredible event. Hydro One is estimating that it has not had a more impactful storm since the big ice storm of 1998. And in fact, there are still wide swaths of eastern Ontario that have no power. It's just a mess out east of us. We get off relatively lightly, although some may not see it that way. But nonetheless, thank you very much for all our staff. They did an incredible job and continue to do a good job because the cleanup will be ongoing for a few days. The other thing I wanted to bring to staff's or to everybody's attention was that the Spartans, the U11 OMHA team, has won the All Ontario Championship over the weekend. Congratulations to them. That's not an easy thing to do. And we'd also like to recommend or remind that Honeywood Arena is there are one of 4 communities in the finals for the Hockeyville 2025. And if anybody remembers, I think Owen Sound won it there 3 years ago, I think it was, and it was quite an event. I participated in that through the warden. So it's quite a big deal. So the voting opens tomorrow at 9 and closes on Saturday at 5 p.m. So go to, I don't know what the website is, but I'm sure if you Google Hockeyville 2025, you'll find the voting spot. And as a show of endorsement tomorrow, all staff and counselors are encouraged, if they're at meetings, wherever, to wear a jersey, a hockey jersey, or a jersey of any sport, really, to show support for Honeywood. I think that's all I have. Does anybody else have anything? Barb? And Joan? I'll take Barb first and then Joan.
Thank you. And I just wanted to remind everyone that Maple Fest or Maple season is alive and well in Grey County. There's several opportunities to take part in the sweet stuff. This weekend, the Nichols Farm maple production facility is open April 5th and 6th. That's just north of Dundalk. And of course, April 12th and 13th, our very own Holstein Maple Fest will get underway. Rib Night is this Saturday at the Holstein Optimist Club. And yeah, it's
okay. Anyone else? Joan, go ahead.
Well,
And then
thank you,
Monica.
Barb. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Barb, for taking my thing. Maple rib dinner and magical burn, Saturday, April 6th. I will be serving up some ribs, so make sure that you're there. Come on down.
Thank you, Joan.
you did a much better job.
Monica, please.
Thank you. I just wanted to say for the month of April, to take a moment to recognize that April is both Sikh Heritage Month and Autism Awareness Month. Sikh Heritage Month is a time to honor the values and contributions and vibrant culture of the Sikh community. This month also indicates that we will be having Vaisakhi on April 14th, which celebrates many things, especially powerful reminder of courage, faith, and unity, which I think is very important. Autism Awareness Month also reminds us of the importance of inclusion, understanding, and advocacy for individuals and families impacted by autism. And lastly, I also wanted to acknowledge the recent ice storm that affected many in Southgate and the region. I extend gratitude to our emergency crews and municipal teams who worked hard to restore safety and services. And also just wanted to acknowledge all of the messages and the comments and discussions that I've been having with many residents during this tough time, and just assuring that we have a wonderful staff and everyone else that's been involved in repair efforts. And also Holstein Maple Fest, of course, in 8 days. Really looking forward to that with my family, and looking to also support. And just wanted to add that I hope that all continue to practice what they preach and live out the values that they say they have. And I wish everyone the best, and everyone in Southgate to get through the storm together.
Thank you, Monica. Anyone else? Okay. We do have a closed meeting. Be it resolved that council proceed into closed session at It is 3:38. In order to address two matters relating to litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunal affecting the municipality or local board, specifically a litigation update, and that all those required remain in attendance. Someone care to move that, please? Joan, thank you, and Martin will second. All those in favor? That is carried.
Mr. Mayor, can we get a 5 minutes break while moving in there?
An absolute Holly says we're good to go. Thank you, Holly, for that. I can confirm that we did not, or we only discussed those matters in closed session that were on the closed session agenda. I don't, oh, there's Monica. And there's Joan. All right. So we have a confirming bylaw, Barb and Jason, thank you. All those in favor? That is carried. We have one motion left to adjourn. Monica says we adjourn. Martin seconds. All those in favor? We're adjourned. Thank you all, folks.